that's it for that. And you can join, you know, America has a national mushroom club. Idaho has SIMA, Southern Idaho Mycological Association. They're real active. If anybody ever is in Boise, you should go to one of the clubs. They meet every other Monday at the fishing game at 7 a.m. They talk about a different genus every week. They have a program. They have outings that they go. I don't go to any of those because when I lived in Stanley, I just lived too far away. So I never went to anything with the forays up here. But we have a really active club. She puts out, the president, Jenny Snyder, is actually given a 3-day mushroom identification class here. I think it's June 10th, 11th, and 12th with the Forest Service. She'll put it in the paper or something. But, so anyway, it's a great little club. And a recommended book, Peterson is the best. Dr. Miller's, of course, is a fabulous book, but it's going to cost a little more. And I subscribe to Mushroom, the Journal, and Fungi Magazine to learn more, but mostly it's just go outside, have a blast, and find these gorgeous little things. And I hope after this, going out in the woods is never the same for you. Now you look around and get addicted like I have.
Your mushrooms are gone.
So that's it, guys.
Thank you.
So, now we have 20 minutes. I can do something real fast. It's how mushrooms get their name. It's a little program that's, I can just zip through it and you can just see the pictures if you want. Or we can leave. You do whatever you want. So want to see how mushrooms get their names?
Sure.
Okay, so I don't know how to do it on this.
Oh, okay, do you have it on?
It's on there.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to.
Okay, so let's just hit escape.
We got it?
Because these names are like, where do they get these names? You know, they're all Latin, of course, which is one good thing that I don't usually learn the common names, because Boletus edulis in America is Boletus edulis in Italy or somebody else. It's the same around the world. But when people say, oh, it's a brain, well, some people mean it's a halbella, some mean it's a gyromitra. So the common names really don't mean anything. So the Latin names are same for the mushroom around the world. Yeah, good, okay. So I'll just zip through this just to show you some pictures and how they get their names. So this is kind of fun. And you saw this already. This is Boletus edulis. It's the same everywhere, but it's called, look at how different the common names. They call it Porcini in Italy, Sepp in France, Steinpelz in Germany, and King Bolete in the US. But the scientists all call it Boletus edulis. So the common names I don't use. And it's like any other thing, any plant or anything or flower, it has the same kingdom division and all that stuff. So this is how Boletus edulis is named. The kingdom is fungi, the division is Basidio, Mycota. Anyway, you don't need it. I'm going to show you the pictures. Okay. So how you write the name of a mushroom, it's always italicized. The genus is always capitalized, the species isn't. So Boletus is capitalized, edulis isn't. And when it's a common name, King Bolete, you don't do anything. It's just, and edulis is Latin for edible. And since it's the most edible one on the planet, it's fabulous. How do they get their names? Usually it's descriptive. What does it look like? What does it smell like? Like the yellow one I showed you, Tricholoma sulphureum, it smells just like sulfur. I mean, you can't, you know, the smell is how you identify it. It's sometimes it's the location of where it's found, a particular color. It's named after that, or the odor, the size or shape, the mycologist who discovered the mushroom. Or in honor of a mycologist that's dead, some of microscopic characteristics, you know, you'll see, I'll have pictures of this stuff. But we're having trouble right now in the US because the rules of nomenclature for plants and everything is whoever names it first, that's the name that stays forever. Well, we found that Morchella esculenta Okay, morel, the blonde morel that we found in the U.S. all the time, it was found in the 1600s now in the literature in England. So now our, Morchella esculenta is now Morchella snyderi. So now they're doing all these changes, and they've just done the DNA analysis of the morel family, which is incredible. And in America alone, there are 20 different morel species. So I have a key on that, but nobody cares about that. But the morels are all edible and stuff, but you really can't see a difference. And somebody was talking to me about picking in a burn, in some of those in the burn, you'll see mostly morels have just kind of the beige stipe and beige cap. But then there's the burn one that actually has a black stipe, and the cap is kind of fuzzy and furry. And when I first found one of these, I thought it was contaminated. So I set that pile aside and ate them at a different time. And they're fabulous too, but it's a completely different species of morel that occurs in the burn area. And then there's some morels that have kind of a pink look to them. So there are 20 different species of morels in the U.S. So anyway, it's kind of mind-boggling. And here's a gorgeous one. Now, as I said, the Amanitas in America have white gills. This is from Australia. But what a perfect name. Amanita, it's got the ring, it's got a bulbous base on it. So Austro is from Australia, and Viridis means green. This is green gills. So in other parts of the world, Amanitas have lots of different colored gills. But the name is descriptive, and it's accurate. It's got not only geographical location in the name, but it's got the color of the gills. So it really makes sense. And this is another one from Australia, and I borrowed all these from Dr. Miller. This is an Amanita with pink gills. Carne means flesh-colored, and it's Latin. It's got flesh-colored or pink gills. So it has the Amanita characteristics. It's got the ring, but the vulva is covered with sand. It still has the vulva, but it's hard to see it. You can see it in this one the best, I think. But around the world, these things are, they're so pretty. There's all different kinds. And Amanita citrina, citrine means lemon-colored in Greek. All scientific nomenclature for plants and trees are either Greek or Latin. So this is Greek. Citrine means yellow. You can see the kind of yellowish cap on the one on the left. Saffron color, Amanita with a saffron colored cap, so that's a kind of a perfect name for it. And this is the deadliest mushroom there is. And I should have had a picture of this next to that little Volvariella that's edible. These are big mushrooms. They're probably this big. Volvariellas are probably this big. But from somebody from another country, and see, this one doesn't have a ring. This one does. So you can see where the Asian people would misidentify this. Even though it's much bigger, it's got the cap, but these again grow on the ground. The Volvariella that are edible that we buy as straw mushrooms in the store, which don't occur naturally in the U.S., they grow on wood. These grow on the ground. But the white one is the most deadly Amanita there is. But look how pretty the thing is. So, Amanita verosa. Veros means poisonous, which should mean deadly. And Amanita eucalyptii, it's an Amanita grown under eucalyptus trees. So that's its name makes sense. Farinacea, Amanita farinacea smells just like bread. If you smell it, it smells like meal. So that helps. And flavoconica, flavo means yellow. So, definitely good name. Amanita lactea, it's colored like milk. It's white. It doesn't have latex. Only the lactarius have latex. But it's colored like milk. Look how cool this one is. Look at these weird warts on the top. Magnet, it's a huge mushroom. So it's big. And verca in Latin means wart. So it's got giant warts on the top. So the scientific names make sense. after a while. And Malheurensis, I mean, it's the location where it's found in Oregon in Malheur County. So named after geographical location. Again, not in America. This is in Australia. It's a Amanita with yellow gills. So ochre or yellow or orange, so its name's Ochrophilia. So it makes sense.
All these examples that have OKM, is that Orson
Orson
Miller?
K. Miller. All his slides I borrowed from him. Yes.
But that, he wasn't the discoverer of the...
Many. He named the green one.
Great.
And he named and discovered many mushrooms around the world. I mean, the guy was just
Yeah.
a saint. He was a brilliant man. He's the one I took my mushroom class from. And his book is very good, and it's extensive too, but you can understand it as a beginner. But Orson described a lot of these. And around the world, there's so many that haven't been described yet. When I was going through his slides, he's got thousands that don't have names on yet. So he just, you run out of time, literally. He just didn't get to it. But look at this. Poly means many, and pyramids, it's got little pyramidal shapes not only on the cap but on the spike. So the names really make sense to you. And this is Amanita proxima and ovoidea. Ova means egg, and amanitas, when they're in their early stages, like on the left, they all start in that egg form. And that's what it looks like when it's grown up. So people say, don't mushrooms look different from one stage of development to another? And I go, oh yeah, but this is what a baby one looks like. This is what it looks like when it grows up. How would you ever know? So my husband says, what, you bought another mushroom book? I said, yeah, but they look different in this book than in these pictures. So now you got to get into, then you're hooked on books. So you have a million books. And exanth means yellow, and cephal means head. It just looks like a head, And again, it's from another different one from Australia. And look at that bulbous base, Armillaria bulbosa. It's got Boletus edulis have a bulbous base. They don't look like this because they're big and round and different. But what a perfect name. It's a big mushroom, and it's got a real bulbous base. So whoever thought that up, that's pretty cool. And auricularia looks just like an ear. So, I mean, and this one is cute. This is really cool under the microscope. The spores look real weird, but anyway, I won't go into that. But this is named after the spores, what they look like, because most of the guild mushrooms have produced 4 spores at a time. This has 2 spores, and they look very different. But anyway, so it's named after the spores and the color of it. So the citra for yellow from Greek, and then the spore, bisporella, because it's got two spored instead of 4 like normal mushrooms. And Boletus calipus. Cal is beautiful, but look at the foot. Pus means foot. Look at that weird foot on the stipe. So it's named for that particular characteristic. Here's the deadly one that I was telling you about earlier that I've never seen in America. It doesn't mean it doesn't occur somewhere, but I've never seen it. The pores, when they start out, are yellow, but when it gets older, they turn red. So these pore teeth, the mouths of the pores are red, but when you slice it in half, it turns bright blue. But there are some Boletus-like mushrooms that when you have yellow pores and they stain blue and they're edible, but they're really easily identified in the book. But the red pore mouse you would never eat. And this is the one you saw, the stinkhorn that I talked about later. Clather means lattice. It looks just like a lattice. And rube, red. So it's named for that. Clavaria delphis, this is you find these things a lot of times when you see morels. They're a club-shaped mushroom. And clava looks like a club. Adelphus, like uterus, and the top looks like a uterus, and it's yellow. Flava means yellow in Latin. And these come in all different sizes, shapes, and they're very pretty. Clyto means close. All the Clytocepes, that whole family, have really close gills. I'm sure I put that in there somewhere. And odor, this smells, it's Clytocepe odora. You can just, again, tell the smell of this. It smells just like anise or licorice. When you smell the mushroom, you'll know exactly what it is. And because a lot of times, with time, the color will fade. Like sometimes the cap won't be that bright blue-green. It'll be kind of faded, but boy, when you smell it, you can smell the licorice. So you know what it is. And here's a coprinus. You know, unlike the shaggy mane or the shaggy mane that comes up in your grass and that are really good to eat. But again, it will auto-digest or dissolve with time. So if you get it in this stage, they're great to eat. But if they ink and get gooey, then I wouldn't advise it. And some grow on dung. Copra means dung, so perfect. It's talking about the substrate where it grows. And it's niva, means snowy or white, and it's absolutely a white mushroom. So that's a good name. Cortinarius meinhardtii. Meinhardt is a French mycologist that this mushroom was named after him. So sometimes they name the mushrooms after the famous mycologist that discovered it. And this one, Cortinarius sanguinea, is blood. They have red gills, so it's very appropriately named for just the color of the gills. Cortinarius violaceus. Look at this beautiful thing. It's named after its color. It's violet colored. Craterellus cornucopioides. A crater, I mean, look at the center of this thing. It looks like a crater, like a cornucopia at Thanksgiving, you know, that has the trumpet-shaped horn. So it's named after its shape in this case. Daedalus, it's named after the inventor of the maze. This gill structure is really odd. Up close, it's really thick and odd shaped. It's kind of like a cross between pores and gills. And it's a wood rotter. It's a hard thing. But the stripes and stuff on them are very, very pretty. And here's some more with teeth. Dentinum. Dent, it means teeth, and it's got little teeth on it. And these are fabulous to eat. They're all over the place here too. And rufus for red, so Dentinum rufescens, its new name is hydnum. They're changing all the names of the mushrooms now because of the DNA stuff. But Fistulina hepatica, fistule is tube-like, and then underneath of these, you can't see it very close up, but it's like a Boletus edulis. It's got little pores, like little tubes and teeth. But it's colored and texture like our liver. So that's why it's called hepatica, which means liver. So, and these are, believe it or not, good to eat. This is hard as a rock, but it's a pretty thing. Ganoderma lucidum. Ganos means brightness or sheen and polish. The cap is real shiny. Even the stipe is shiny. So this is named after one of the characteristics, the shiny stipe. Geastrum, it's a puffball family. Sessile means without a stem. It has no stem. It starts off like a little ball, and then the outside layer breaks off and then inverts and elevates the spore case so that it gives it an advantage to get it off the ground and get the spores up a little higher. So a lot of times in degraded soils or hard packed like beside a road or something like that, or in the desert, you'll see a lot of puffballs that have adaptations where they raise them above the ground so that they don't dry out as fast and the spores get access to the air currents quicker. So, and it looks like a star. G is earth, aster means star, and the little rays at the bottom kind of make it look like a star pattern. Is this a perfect name for this? Gomphidius glutinosus. The thing is so slimy you can't believe it. It's very glutinous. So gumph means wedge shaped, it's wedge shaped. And these you find a lot in bare